Another one is direction, where and how to go. An example of this is maybe you are a new student or your first day of going to National Open University at VI. You are looking for a faculty, or you are looking for a particular, you are looking for your lab. You enter the school, you didn't know where the place is, and you ask a question, as you ask for the direction that, yeah, I'm heading to this particular place. The person directing you is giving you an information, is passing an information you are able to retrieve. You'll be able to retrieve later, because after that explanation of, yeah, just turn to your right, go straight down, you will see the building there, you will see the computer lab, enter. The next day, if you are coming to the school and you are going to that same lab, you are going to remember. The process of you remembering the particular, the description that was given to you is an information retrieval, because you were able to collect the useful information from what the person told you. Then the third one is the fact. Fact are true informations. These are informations that are true. For example, 1 times 1 is 1. That's a true information. There's no way it can be twisted. Informations that are true are called facts. So, listening for general impression. Yeah, that's another subtopic in what we did. Listening for general impression helps you to understand the main message. We are talking about listening for general impression. That will help you to understand the main message, because you are listening generally, like you are having an impression of a particular topic. So your mind is there, your focus and your attention is there for you to be able to listen generally. So you are trying to understand that main message, or the main topic, the main context of what you are dealing with. So as a good listener, you need to think critically instead of agreeing blindly. This is part of a skill that you're supposed to possess as a good listener. As a good listener, learn how to think critically instead of agreeing blindly. Yeah, I gave an example in the last class that I met a student during that fasting period, and I said, yeah, I think I said Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Then he said no, that their pastor said Jesus fasted for only 1 day, that we're supposed to be fasting for 1 day. And I was like, how? I didn't argue. Instead, I went to the browser. I showed it to him that, yeah, this is what is there under ChatGPT, this is what is there under the Chrome, under whatever. I just showed him, and I was expecting him to show me his own evidence. Instead, he said he has to call his pastor. He brought out his phone and he called his pastor. I was like, guy, what's that for? So instead, as a good listener, you need to think critically instead of just agreeing blindly. For him to be able to agree that it's only 1 day and Jesus fasted, it means he is not a good thinker, because he didn't even analyze it at all. So listening plus note taking, if you're able to listen and you're able to do a note taking, it will actually improve your academic success. So that's all about the last class we did. So we are going to today's class, which is listening, comprehension, and information retrieval. Listening, comprehension, and information retrieval. We are still talking about information retrieval, but this one is another one. This one is for data, for figures, for diagrams, and for charts. So this particular unit is for data, figures, and diagrams and charts. You're able to do an information retrieval of data, of figures, of diagrams, and charts. So let's go into the topic. In this previous unit, the last one that we did, you were trained to listen and comprehend instructions, directions, and facts. You were able to understand instructions, able to understand directions and facts. So the training you received in that unit was more on the use of listening comprehension for general purpose. That one was for general purpose. This previous unit that we did. So instructions, directions, and facts are common active listening activities in social and academic life. So this unit attempts to be more specific and more directed to academic purpose. You will be exposed to listening comprehension as it relates to information retrieval from data, figures, diagrams, tables, and charts. So you will agree with me that these listening comprehension skills are more directed to learning a specific academic field. than the listening comprehension activity treated in the previous unit. So the difference between this unit and the previous unit is that the previous unit actually emphasizes more or makes us to understand about instructions, directions, and facts. But this unit now is taking us away. I mean, it's taking us like is expanding and exposing us to be able to do an information retrieval from data, from figures, from diagrams, from tables and charts. And it's exposing us to specific academic feed, like different academic feed, not the listening comprehension activities alone. Now this one is going to expose us to more academic feed. So let's look at the simple introduction of this. In universities, listening is not only for conversation, as we all know. Listening is part of your survival skills in the university. You need to know how to be able to listen. You have to have functioning ears. You have to have a lot of concentration when it comes to listening. So you must listen carefully in lectures and quickly understand information shown as data, figures, diagrams, tables, and charts. For an example, a lecturer explains WAEC result statistics. In our textbook that we have been opening, maybe you are a business admin student, you are a computer science student, in some of your departmental courses, you will see that there are some illustrations or there are some particular units that they are going to use some data to explain. Some they will use figures to explain. Some they will use diagram to explain. For example, maybe you are offering biology 101, or for some of us that have attended practicals, you will see that they will give us diagram to draw. They are using diagram to make some explanations. They are using tables. They are using charts. So a lecturer explains a WAEC result statistic. Now, a lecturer that is trying to explain a WAEC result statistics that this is the amount of students that passed WAEC this year. That lecturer can actually use a chart. You can use a bar chart. You can use a pie chart. You can use a table, and you can also use figures to explain the WAEC result statistics. Then a lecturer describes a diagram of the human heart. A lecturer describing a diagram of a human heart. As a biology student, you should be aware of this, that if you want to actually describe human heart, we can't use only mouth. Instead, a diagram is what is going to be used to describe the human heart, to show you that this is where the ventricle is, this is where the ventricle is. Another one is a business lecturer explains a sales chart. Explaining a sales chart, that is where we make use of charts. Can make use of a pie chart to explain a business chart, like this is the amount of profit that came in, this is the amount that the customer buying from Lagos, this is the amount they bought, customer buying from Abuja, this is the amount they bought. So this is a simple introduction of this particular unit. So your job is to listen, understand, and extract correct information. So under this unit, your job as a student here, your job as a listener here, is for you to listen. Listen, you understand, and you extract correct information. That is your own work. That is your own task to do. So these skills helps you to pass tests, pass your assignments, and pass your exams. If you are able to develop these skills, if you are able to listen well, you are able to understand well, and you are able to extract the correct information that is needed, it's going to help you to pass your test. It's going to help you to pass your assignment and your exams. So an objective, what you should know after this course is, by the end of this unit, you should be able to pick important information while listening. You should learn now, like you should have developed a skills for you to be able to pick important information while listening. Another one, label diagram correctly from explanation. At the end of this unit, you should be able to label diagrams correctly, basically from explanation. Then complete tables and charts from spoken information. You should be able to do that also by the end of this unit. So let's go into the unit. So let's look at listening comprehension for data information. We have data, figures, diagrams, tables, and charts. So we are going to start for the one of data information. So listening comprehension for data information. The first one is, what is data? That is the first question. Like we need to be familiar with the topic grammars, topic terms. What is data? According to computer users, data is a raw fact, right? Yeah, I agree. Here also, data is just a collected information or number. So data is either a collected information or a numbers. The data, according to computer users, is a raw fact. Raw fact in data. But yeah, is a collected information or number. The information you were able to collect together, or the numbers you were able to collect together, is called a data. Examples in Nigeria is JAMB scores of students. JAMB scores of students is a data. We were able to collect the JAMB scores of all students. Okay, 1,000 students is having above 250, 500 students is having above 200, like that. That is how data have been collected. Then population of Lagos State, that is also a data. That one is a collected information, like is a collected numbers rather. They were able to figure out the numbers of the citizens that are living, the citizens of Nigeria here in Lagos. Then fuel price changes. This is another data that is collected. Election result also is an example of data, an example of data information. So during lectures, lecturers may read out data instead of writing them. This is where your job comes in as a listener, as a good listener, as a student, for you to be able to listen, to understand, and for you to be able to pick out the important information. So during lectures now, lecturers may read out data. Sorry, can you all hear me? Is the application itself. So under here, during lectures, lecturers may read out data instead of writing information. So to skip the process of, for an example now, we are doing online class. There's no board that we have to write the data I want to give out. So instead, I will just read them out. So a lecturer says, in 2024, Lagos generated 800 billion internally. Why Kano generated 250 billion also? That's the data. So that is the data here. It says a lecturer says in 2024, Lagos generated 800 billion internally, while Kano generated 250 billion. So as a student that is following up, as a student that is able to pick the correct and the important details, what do? You must quickly write, just stabilize it. For state, Lagos 800 billion as the revenue, for Kano 250 billion as the revenue. The data was like the lecturer read out the data instead of writing it. It is the work of you, maybe it is your job to actually write it down, write everything down in a way whereas you are going to be you are going to understand it. So you can actually tabulize it. State revenue: Lagos 800 billion, Kano 250 billion. So the skills here is listening and recording key numbers. You are able to listen, you are able to get the information, the data that the lecturer is dropping, and at the same time you are able to record the key number. So how to do it well? How do you do this thing well? This thing that was done here, how do you do it well? The first thing is you listen attentively. That's the first thing. You listen attentively. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is you write only important numbers. Don't just write everything. Write only the important numbers. Then another one is you ignore unnecessary stories. Try to ignore unnecessary stories. Then another one is use short notes. You using short notes is you doing a note taking. So this is how to do it well. This is how you are able to listen, understand, and be able to write out the data correctly, like the key data correctly. You listen attentively, you write only the important numbers. Here the lecturer says in 2024 Lagos generated. 2024 was skipped because he was talking about 2024. So the numbers that was picked there is just Lagos 800 billion, Kano 250 billion. So you write only the important numbers, then you ignore unnecessary stories. Stories that are not needed, ignore them. Just pick up the key points. So another one is use short notes. Yeah, if you cannot, okay. Some people are saying they cannot hear me. Let me try it. Right, so that if you can hear me now, kindly indicate so that we know maybe the issue is still here. Or Oluwadamilola, if you can hear me, let me know. Shinda, if you can hear me, let me know. So, okay. So as I was saying, the skills here is listening and recording numbers, and these are the steps on how you do it well. You listen attentively, you write only important numbers, you ignore unnecessary stories, you use short notes. So going on to the next one. Next one is listening information retrieval from figures. Please try to mute yourself. I don't know if for those that are not hearing me. Hello, can you all hear me now? Is it better? Please, I think others can hear me. For those that cannot hear me, Mr. Philip, can you hear me? If come and let me unlock your phone, let me try this thing. Let me see, maybe I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, mosquito don't full this place too. Goodbye. Where's your phone? Yeah, please, if you can still not hear me, let me know that the comment section. Go to your WhatsApp. That group. Yeah, hello, can you hear me? No. Please, let's try to mute our calls. Let's try to mute our calls. So the second part is listening and information retrieval from figures. We've talked about listening and information retrieval from data. So now it is listening and information retrieval from figures. So the first thing we have to look at here is, what are figures? What do you understand by figures? Figures are visual representations. So figures are visual representations like drawing, sketching, illustrations, graphs. So all of these are figures. They are what we call figures. They are just visual representations. They are things that can be represented with drawings, with sketch, with illustration, with graph. An example, if you can remember, in our secondary school we have this under physics and under maths. If you want to draw for propagation or you want to draw for deviation, you draw x over y. So these are figures. You are able to represent the figures with a visual representations. An example is a geography lecturer showing a rainfall map of Nigeria and explaining the regions. For a geography lecturer or a geography teacher to show a rainfall map of Nigeria and explain region, under this geography there is a particular separation of the course that is called map reading. You'll be able to map out the rainfall map of Nigeria, and they're able to explain the regions to you. These are ways figures can be represented. So it can be represented through drawing, through sketch, through illustrations, through graph. So you must connect what you hear with what you see. Under these figures, you must be able to connect what you hear with what you see. So let's use the drawing as an example. I'm saying, okay, there is 5 cats. Now 5 cats, you are hearing it. Instead, I'm not drawing it for you. You are the one to do the figure representation. You are the one to do the drawing. 5 cats plus an addition of another 2 cats. You can actually draw it as, it doesn't mean you have to draw a very fine cat, or just give a drawing that represents the figures. You give a drawing that represents the figures of 5 cats, and you also give another figure that represents a figure of 2 cats, and you are going to, and we want to add them together. Using that same figures, you are able to draw another 7 cats that give the answer for the 5 plus 2 cats. That is just like a figures. That is just like a visual representation of the figures that we are trying to get. So the process of connecting what you hear with what you see. So what are the skills that are needed for this? You listen carefully to hear the instructions, then you focus on numbers and labels. You try as much as possible to focus on numbers and labels. Then you observe the figures closely. Observe the figures closely so that you'll be able to get the accurate figures they're talking about. Then ability for you to think fast and match the speech with image. You're able to think fast, you're able to match the speech with image. Yeah, they are not giving you the image. They are not showing you the image. Instead, they are reading out the image for you. So it's left for you to be able to match the speech with the image, and you'll be able to think fast. So a Nigeria example of this is, if a lecturer says the highest rainfalls occurs in South region, you immediately check the map and label South highest rainfall. For those of us that did geography in our WAEC, they used to give us map. They will give us map down, so that in case you get to the map reading part, you'll be able to map out your regions there. So same thing applicable. Lecturer says the highest, we are talking about geography now. If the lecturer says the highest rainfalls occur in the south region, you're able to look at the map, you're able to pick out that south and indicate it that highest rainfall. That is the kind of skills we are talking about here. So a listening and information retriever from figures. You're able to collect useful information from figures. Okay, they are saying the highest department, the department with the highest number of female students in National Open University is business administration. You're able to check and highlight out that figures that business administration, highest female student equals to business administration. That's an example of that. You're able to collect useful information from figures. You can represent them with drawings, you can represent the figures with sketch, you can represent with an illustration, and you can use a graph. So that's for this. That's for the information retrieval from figures. So let's go to the third part. We've talked about data, we've talked about figures. Let's go to the one of diagram. So let's go to the one of diagram. Listening, comprehension, and labeling diagrams. Listening, comprehension, and labeling diagram. So this is very common in exams here. Labeling of diagram is very common in exams. So you may see the one they will use for us mostly is biology. Biology diagrams, your biology practicals, engineering machines, and these engineering courses, agricultural tools under the agricultural department, the computer system part. So a lecturer describes parts while you listen. In our last class for GST103, I was able to tell us how the part of the keyboard. Although I showed us some diagram, and I used it to explain. But let's say there was no diagram and I was using mouth to explain. I was just saying it literally, like with no practical pictures, with nothing to show that this is what I was talking about. But because you've seen a keyboard before, you should be able to actually describe those parts. You should be able to actually draw out those parts and label them. So let's use that same keyboard as an example now. Where is the cap lock located? If you should remember, or if you should picture a keyboard now in your head, you will know that the cap lock is located at the left side. The left side is above shift, in the middle of shift and tab. So you're able to draw a keyboard. You can actually indicate it out there that this is the cap lock. This is where cap lock is. So this labeling of diagrams, we see them in biology diagrams where they will tell you to draw the alimentary canal of a rat or alimentary canal of a cockroach. You're able to draw it out and label it. Or you are told to draw the female reproductive system, male reproductive system, or you are told to draw a kidney. So you're able to draw this and label it. It's part of it is you developing a listening and comprehension skills. Then for the agricultural tools, maybe you are told to draw a knapsack sprayer, or you are told to draw hoe or cutlass. So you're able to draw that and label them accordingly. That's the kind of skills we're talking about here. So let's look at the steps to follow. So what are the steps to follow here? Listen carefully to each description. You are able to listen carefully to each description. You are able to watch the signal words. Signal words like firstly, secondly, next, finally. All of these 4 words, they are all signal words. They are signal words that you need to pay attention to. Firstly, secondly, next, and finally. So you look at the diagram closely, then you label the correct part immediately. These are the steps you have to follow when you want to label a diagram. You listen carefully to each description. You watch the signal words, then you look at the diagram closely, label the correct part immediately. So a Nigeria example is biology lecturer says firstly The roots absorb water. The signal words there is firstly. So the roots absorb water. You quickly label roots on the plant diagram. You have a plant diagram, and a biology lecturer says, firstly, the roots absorb the water. So you're able to actually label the roots and indicate it there that absorbs water. You label the root, you indicate the absorb water. That is you able to listen and understand, and you able to label the diagram. So you look at the diagram closely, you label the correct part immediately. At the same time, still looking at the plant diagram, you're able to say, okay, maybe lecturer say the anther or the stigma of that flower now, you should indicate it. You're able to look at the top of the plant and indicate the stigma there, or indicate the flower there, the anther there, that this is it. So that is what we are talking about this. You're able to label and correct the part of a diagram immediately. All these things are done while you listen. That is why you must develop a good listening skills, because all of these are done while listening. You are not going to be shown. It's not going to, like, lecturer is not going to show you the labeling. Instead, his own task is for him to explain. It's for him to tell you why you listen. While your own part is for you to listen, understand, and be able to pick out the correct point. So let's go to the fourth one, which is tables and charts. So these two are going to be connected together. Tables and charts. So for the tables and charts, this listening and information retrieval from tables and charts. So information can be organized into tables. Informations can be organized into tables. It can also be organized into charts. So let's look at the table. For the table now, facts are arranged in rows and columns. Under the tables, facts are arranged in rows and columns. For an example, year, we are using a tabular form now. Year as the heading, fuel price as another heading. As at 2020, fuel price is 145. As at 2024, fuel price is 650. As at 2026, fuel price is 1000 something. So that is you using a table. That is you using a table to actually give out facts. So facts arranged in rows and columns accordingly. Then under the chart shows changes over time. A chart helps to show changes over time. An example is weather chart, sales chart, population growth chart. So all of this helps to show changes over time. For weather chart, it shows the weather changes. Example is all this weather forecast. So you're able to see how weather changes. You're able to see the changes of weather over time. Then for the sales chart, it is used to show how there's a changes between the sales, maybe profit, maybe loss, maybe any changes within the sales. A chart is used to show them. If you are into data analysis, you will understand how chart helps to show, like, to actually give better information on how the sales is going. You'll be able to know where you are losing, you'll be able to know where you are gaining, you'll be able to know maybe there's no repetition of customer details. And another one is population growth chart. A chart is also used to show changes over the population growth chart. For an example, in Nigeria 10 years ago, they say we are around 150 million. Now we are around over 250 million in the country. So this has actually helped to show these changes over time for this population growth chart. So a Nigeria example of this is a business lecturer explains Dangote cement sales increased from 2022 to 2024. This is a Nigeria example. A business lecturer is able to explain how Dangote cement sales increased from 2022 to 2024. For an example, let me use MTN. MTN is not a Nigeria company, but for MTN in Nigeria now, as at 2 years ago, if you are into all this stock change, all this stock change, as at 2 years ago, their money, if you want to buy MTN shares, I think it's around 50 naira or something. Yeah, I think 100 naira. As at 2 years ago, gradually it was increasing to 150 to 200. As at last year, it was 400. Now I guess it's now 500 now for people that are into that stock of a thing. So that is you explaining how their shares has been increasing from 2023, 2024 to 2026. So you convert listening into a chart showing growth. You having the ability, you having the skills, you having the understanding of how to convert what you listen to into a chart showing growth. That is what we are talking about here. You listening and using that information retrieval to create a chart, to create a table. So that is for the part for tables and charts. So we've talked about for the data, for the figures, for the tables, and now for the charts. So let's continue. Let's look at the reason why tables and charts are important. Why is tables and charts important? Number one, they help you to understand faster. Yeah, tables and charts help to understand faster. They help to summarize long informations, and they help to revise easily before exam. So tabular form or chart, they are very important because they help to understand faster. If you are using tables and charts, you'll be able to understand the informations better and even faster. And it actually helps to summarize long information. Yeah, you are given a data set that is having like 3,000 customers. How do you summarize it? You can use a chart. You can use a pie chart. You can use a bar chart to summarize the data set for 3,000 customers. Now, for the person that wants to, or maybe for the person you want to show it to, or for yourself to be able to have a better understanding of it, you can actually use it to understand faster also. Another one is revise easily before exam. Yeah, it helps as like it will actually help us as a student to be able to revise easily before exam because it has been summarized already. You are not starting afresh. It has been summarized in a way you are going to understand faster. It has been summarized in a way whereas all those long information has been joined together for better understanding. So it will be very easier for you to read or to revise before exam. So let's look at the key tips for this. Most students fail because they listen casually. Yeah, you listen casually. You know, we have two types of listening. You list some like the first one is casually. You listening just for casual. Say for an example, you are gisting your friend, or maybe you get to the work, your colleague is like, yeah, my boss, our boss was drunk yesterday. I was the one that dragged him inside, and the rest. That's an example of you listening casually. Another one is wait for lecturer to repeat. Yeah, you are waiting for lecturer to repeat itself. So most students fail because they are waiting for the lecturer to repeat itself. Another one, to write full sentence. You are writing full sentence. You are trying to write full sentence. You cannot meet up. What you need is just for you to capture the main point, capture the main idea. So what do successful students do? They listen actively, full attention, functioning ear, and they think along with the speaker. Like your mind is there, no distraction. If it is 1 hour you want to give to the class, like giving the 1 hour without any distraction. Then you are writing keywords. Instead of you writing full sentence, you are just taking notes using keywords. Keywords that later you'll be able to understand properly. Then you capture number faster. Yeah, you're able to capture numbers faster. Then another one is you're able to connect speech with visuals. The ability for you to be able to connect the speech with visuals. You know, we are talking about data, figures, charts, and tables. So you're able to connect speech with visuals. This is what successful student does. This is what they do rather. So let's go into the summarization of everything we've done. I said listening comprehension in academics mean you listening carefully to extract information presented as data, figures, diagrams, tables, or charts. So listening comprehension, you listening and understanding in academics, it means for you to be able to listen carefully to extract information. You're able to retrieve information that are presented to you as data, as figures, as diagram, as tables and charts. So as a student, you must listen attentively. You must be able to identify the key informations, and you must be able to match spoken explanations with visuals. And you must be able to organize the information clearly. So these skills help students understand lectures and succeed in examination. So these skills help students to understand lectures and succeed in examinations. So let's go into the practical questions here. I will ask us some questions, and I want us to, if you want to answer, just raise up, click on the raising up hand button there, raise up your hand. I will tell you to talk, then okay, I will tell you to talk and you will answer it correctly. Yeah, you just let us make it an interactive class. Let's make it an interactive class. Alright, so the first question is, look at this place. Look at the question 1. Your lecturer reads out student result statistics. Your lecturer reads out student result statistics. Explain 2 skills you need to correctly record the data. So let's say for an example, now I'm reading out student result statistics for the first semester. I'm reading it out that this is the amount of people that have A, amount of people that have B. I'm reading out that student result statistics. Who can explain the 2 skills that you need to correctly record the data? 2 skills that is needed as a student, as for you to be able to correctly record the data. Who can answer that? Okay, Alice.
Okay, I think listening, that's paying attention to lecturers so you don't miss the important figures and details. Accurate note taking, writing information clearly as it is read out.
Okay, thank you very much, Alice. Thank you. So that is the correct. Yeah, you're giving us 2 correct skills here. You're giving us 2 correct skills. Okay, I think another person is BKB. Good evening, BKB. How are you? Okay. Uh, uh, yes, sir. I can hear you. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution, BKB. Okay, Mr. Akwan. Oh, oh, you are a lady. Sorry, my bad. My bad.
Listening able to listen actively and also practice you're being able to
Thank you very much for your contribution also. So talking about the skills that you need to have so that you'll be able to record the data. Yeah, you guys have answered correctly. So let's go to the second question. Mention 4 steps involved in labeling diagram during listening comprehension. Who can help us with that? The steps that is involved in labeling diagram during listening comp. Okay, Alice.
I don't know the form because I did not join the class before. I know some. I can mention two.
Okay.
Read the instruction carefully before listening.
Okay.
Observe the diagram without using for example.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Alice. So let's like reading the instructions carefully. And what's the second one?
Reading the instruction carefully
Mm-hmm.
listening.
All right. All right. BKB. BKB. Want to add to it? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much too. Thank you for adding to it. So the first steps that are involved in labeling diagram during listening comprehension. If the first step that are involved, you must listen carefully. That's obviously the first thing. You must listen carefully so that you'll be able to grab everything that was described. You must be able to grab that. Then you must follow the signal post. For an example, according to the example that was here, the biology lecturer says, firstly, the roots absorb water. The firstly there is the signal post. Then at the same time, the third one, you must be able to look at the diagram, look at the diagram very well. Take a look at the diagram carefully. Then the fourth one is think fast and you label it correctly. You think fast and you label it correctly. So that is the 2 questions, and we've all answered well. Is there anybody that's having any question to ask based on this unit? If you have anyone that has a question to ask before we go to the objective and fill in the gap question to ask ourselves. Yeah, do you have a question to ask? Alright, so in the absence of no question, let's go into the objective and fill in the gap questions that we have. Yeah, Mr. John. Okay, Mr. John.
No.
Alright. Alright, Mr. John, can I hear you? Yeah, good evening, sir. Yeah, I noticed that you joined late. Yes, after the message, just drop a message. Sorry, after the call, after this class rather, just drop a message. I'll be able to send it to you. All right. So let's look at the objective question. Ma. All right, no issue. After the class, drop a message. So let's look at the objective questions. The first one, listening comprehension in this unit mainly focus on what? What does it focus on? If yeah, academic information retrieval. So that is what it focuses on. That's C. Then the second question, data refers to what? What does data refers to? Collection of informations or figures. And figures, thank you. So collection of informations and figures. Then the third one, which of the following helps in labeling diagrams correctly? Which of the following helps in label? Yeah, there's no listening carefully there. So paying attention to the transitional words, that's the correct one for that. So the fourth question, a chart is best used to show. What does it show? Thank you. So a chart helps to show changes over a period of time. Yeah. So number 5, one major skills needed in listening comprehension is what? Attentive listening. You must be an attentive listener. Okay, yeah, thank you. So let's go to the fill in the gap section now. Fill in the gap section. So the first one is data are a collection of dash stored for use. Data, information, thank you. So data are collection of information. So number 2, listening comprehension requires dash listening. Yeah, thank you. It requires attentive listening. So number 3, figures can be represented as drawing, sketch, or dash. Yeah, it's going to end in the next 6 minutes. So you will just click it back. So onto the question, figures can be represented as diagram, sketch, or what? Yeah, graphs. Thank you. Or graphs. So figures can be represented as a drawing, sketch, or graph. And number 4, words like firstly and secondly are called dash words. Yeah, they are just called signpost words rather. So signpost words because they are able to signpost you that this is what firstly, secondly, thirdly. Then number 5, a dash is used to show changes over time. A chart. Alright. So number 6, a list of facts. Number 6, a dash is a list of facts arranged in rows and columns. Tables, thank you. Tables is a list of facts that are arranged in rows and columns. So number 7, to retrieve information correctly, you must listen dash attentively. That should be the correct one, not actively, attentively. So you must listen attentively. Then number 8, diagrams are labeled based on information from dash comprehension. Thank you. From listening comprehension. Yeah. So number 9, information in lectures can be stored in tables, charts, or what? Information in lectures can be stored in tables, charts, or what? It can be, yeah. So information in lectures can be stored either in tables, in charts, or in diagram. So number 10, the ability to relate spoken words to virtual requires dash thinking. What did you say? Yeah, critical thinking. So the ability to relate spoken words to virtual thinking. So virtual requires dash thinking. So you said the answer is critical thinking, right? Do we all agree to that? Okay. All right. So that is for the fill in the gap section. So for this particular unit, we've talked about how informations can be retrieved using diagrams, using charts, using tables, using graph, etc. So as a student, as a listener, you must be able to listen carefully. You must pay attention and focus on what you are learning. It will actually help to grow your academic, success. And now we are doing tests, we are doing TMA, and every information you are hearing, the ability for you to actually understand and give it a critical thinking. That's the main important thing for now. It is not everything you hear that you accept to. Instead, do a critical analyzing on it so that you get the better understanding first. So while reading, while attending your classes, let's pay attention, let's concentrate. If it is 1 hour you want to give, you give your 1 hour to the book, read, gain what you need to gain, and go and do the other things you need to do. So it's very easy if your mind is there. So that's going to be the end of the class for this section. So we'll continue again this week by God's grace. So for those of you that need the recording, just drop a message. I will do the recording and send it to you. So I really appreciate every one of us for showing up tonight. Yeah, message directly. All right. So all right. So have a lovely night rest. Yeah. I will see you in my dream. Sorry. You will see me. No, see me.